My name is Kate. I live with my husband, Michael. We inherited a restaurant from my G, which we run. This restaurant, Sunflower, was kept grandfather for a very long time. It was loved by the locals and had regular customers who ate at the. However, even though our grandfather, a very active owner of the restaurant, also battling cancer,
I can't be resting in a hospital room.
I should be out in Sunflower work, my very last day. Even when his condition worsened, my grandfather did not show any signs of weakness and kept on working. He continued to serve delicious food with a smile and enjoyed conversations with his regular customers. And today, my grandfather passed away with his family watching over him. He knew his time was coming, and he left behind a very precise will that described the inheritance of the restaurant Sunflower. I decided to inherit and follow in my grandfather's footsteps to become a sunflower farmer. Thankfully, even after my grandfather passed away, the customers never stopped coming to eat at Sunflower. The employees who have worked with grandfather stayed to work with us. Since I had watched and practiced my grandfather's cooking style all my life, I was confident that I could serve the same delicious food as my grandfather's. Since my grandfather worked so hard his restaurant, he was well received regular customers who loved eating grandfather's cooking.
Wow, it tastes just like the Grand. Even though he is gone, it tastes one he is still here with us.
The regular customers were very happy with the fact that they were able to continue eating grandfather's cooking. I was becoming more motivated since Sunflower was thriving well even after my grandfather was gone. However, Michael, my husband, has been becoming increasingly dissatisfied ever since his grandfather's death.
Restaurant owners should be run by, why should you inherit it?
Because of the high demand, we are currently sold out of this item. Please check back soon as more stock may become available. Even though I own this restaurant, I'm not running it, so it shouldn't matter.
Yeah, but
Since Michael wanted to be a restaurateur, he often complained about the food. However, I am the top chef of the Even when my grandfather was alive, husband mainly did the shopping for, but never cooked. I've never heard a restaurant owner cook. I should not have been so stubborn and given the ownership of the rest to Michael, but my grandfather precisely as the heir. Since I was named as the heir of the restaurant, I strongly felt that I disrespect my grandfather's wishes.
Kate, can I have another one of this?
Sure, coming right up.
The restaurant continued to thrive, being very busy every day. Then one day, someone came to visit.
Hey, Michael, it's been a long time.
It was my husband's younger brother. Dave was quite horrible. He never had a proper regular job, but he's been fooling around for his age, and now he doesn't get along well with anyone. He had moved far away last year, say was going to work, but then he quit and came back again.
oh, hey, welcome back.
Even though he's a horrible brother, he's still an important brother to my husband. Michael was very happy that his brother had returned.
I heard that your grandfather died. Michael, did you inherit the restaurant?
No, I didn't inherit the restaurant.
What? Did your wife inherit it?
No way. She's a woman. Women becoming is a joke. Dave was laughing, oblivious to the annoyed glances of the customers. I couldn't be bothered to deal with my horrible brother-in-law, so I just pretended not to hear him.
Since I am the family member, can the house...
Yeah, sure.
My brother-in-law drank a large set of beers and left without paying. He is that horrible.
Hey, even when the other families come to eat at our restaurant, they always ask for you. It's not fair to the other guests, so please, brother-in-law, don't ask us to pay for your meal at our restaurant.
What? It's okay. He doesn't have any money, so we should help him a little.
My husband seems like he is on the Dave. After that, Dave continued to eat there regularly without any further incidents. Every time Dave came over, I'd tell Michael to make him pay, but my husband wouldn't listen. Since I was very persistent about my in-laws paying, my husband became angry with me and we stopped talking to each other. Dave started coming to the restaurant often while my husband and I were being distant from each other. Every time my brother-in-law would see my husband, he would go into a private chat with him. I bet they're talking behind my back. I pretended not to care about them, continued to cook and serve the customers. Dave was having this conversation, husband, while glancing at me as I see busily.
Is there any way that you can own restaurant?
My wife is the owner.
Since the location of this restaurant is great and there are many customers, do you own the restaurant and make it your own? It must be hard to have your wife as your boss, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Dave had his eye on Sunflower and was planning to own and run this restaurant. While Michael and I were on bad terms, my brother-in-law was trying to get my sister, who was frustrated with me, on board with his plan.
But how could we make the restaurant more sustainable?
I have an idea.
Michael and Dave began to make plans secret. Michael has agreed to Dave's idea about going through with it. Next day was Restaurant S close day. My husband left early, and I spent the day alone. Even though it was my day off, I knew the kitchen needed some cleaning. I decided to use my day off as the day, so I went to the restaurant. When I tried to open the door to the restaurant was already opened. I thought I forgot to lock the door last night and entered the restaurant hurriedly, finding Michael and Dave inside the restaurant.
You are here. The door was opened, so I went in. Today is a close day. Why are you here?
When I spoke to them, they were both as if they were planning something.
I have something to tell you. Since you have inherited this restaurant, don't like the way you've been acting stuck up. I suggest you try to be more friendly with your customers and staff.
I have not been a stuck-up person.
Yes, you have been. Don't you think so?
Yes, you are being a stuck-up. Since the restaurant is thriving and making profits, you're feeling good at it.
What are you saying?
I was getting very annoyed and angry. They both talked to me as if while I was getting furious, I was just taking out documents from the table.
I don't like your attitude. I can take it anymore. Let's get a divorce.
The document was an already filled out divorce papers. Since this was too sudden, I was a bit taken aback.
What do you mean by this?
I was upset because I didn't understand that my husband was thinking about. The first thing that came to my mind was continuing the restaurant. I have a few employees, but it will be difficult for me to run the rest of my business on my own after the divorce.
This is too sudden for me to take. It will be hard for me to continue owner if I get a divorce.
About that, we'll buy the restaurant from you. We will start the restaurant by me, the owner of this restaurant, so you leave it.
I couldn't understand what my husband was saying.
It's such a waste. Since this restaurant has a great location with so many customers, but a bland menu. So we will renew this restaurant.
Yup, so just fill out the divorce, get out.
Since they were speaking nonsense, to brain just froze.
This is the restaurant that my grandfather owned for the longest time. We have enough profit from it. We should continue as it is for our customers.
That means you're not going to change. Then this restaurant will go out of in a short time. Since we don't want this restaurant to be a business, I will run it for you as I am saying.
No matter what I say to them, they won't try to hear me out. I am sure Michael was brainwashed by, Shinrikyo.
Okay, I will buy this restaurant by named price.
I couldn't be patient with their arrogance.
Fine then. Then I will sell it for 500,000. Just give me 2 weeks to prepare the papers and the contract paper. Don't visit the restaurant for those weeks.
There was a reason why I would sell restaurant to them so easily. They don't even know the reason why. They were just being selfish and thinking about their own profit. I was able to run the restaurant until I gave the restaurant over to
Hey, where's your husband?
We are actually getting a divorce.
Why so sudden? Are you going to run this site all by yourself?
No, this restaurant will be bought husband. I will be quitting in 2 weeks.
The customers were surprised with a very worried face.
But don't worry, I have some good news.
The customer who saw the flyer instantly looked relieved.
Now you have nothing to complain about.
Michael signed the contract immediately without any hesitation.
I am transferring the money to your now, so this is my restaurant now.
Michael and Dave were overjoyed. While they were celebrating, I packed up my belongings and left the restaurant. On the way to submit the divorce papers, I couldn't wait to see what they would do with the restaurant. Michael and Dave immediately opened the restaurant.
I've already explained this situation to you. Employees, so there shouldn't be any problem with running this restaurant without Kate.
All right, let's make some money.
The two were fired up and got ready to 10-0. When the store opened, an unusual scene unfolded.
Why isn't the customer coming?
Usually the customer comes when the restaurant opens, but no one was here. Employees who were diligent in coming to work did not show up. Michael tried to call the employees, but wasn't able to get through to them. Since this has never happened before, began to panic. When Michael got out of the restaurant, he found a regular customer walking by.
Hey, aren't you our regular customer?
Huh?
I was worried because you didn't show up at the restaurant when it opened. Come in, come in.
But I heard your wife quit. I used to be a regular customer because I loved her food. But now that she's not here, there's no reason for me to come and eat.
Don't say such thing. Don't worry, we can serve you a delightful meal.
Michael half forcibly pushed the customer into the restaurant. The customer reluctantly enters the restaurant and looked at the menu to order.
What is this menu?
Since I am the new owner, I have read the menu.
The menu did not have any of the menus of Sunflower. The menu had exotic words which were difficult for the customers to understand, which made the customers less excited to order.
Fine.
Coming right up.
Michael and Dave began cooking with enthusiasm. Since the customer never saw my ex-cook, the customer was not looking for the ordered food.
What is taking so long?
Here you go.
After 40 minutes of wait, the dish was finally served. The customer's eyes widened when she saw the steak that was served.
What is this?
What Michael served was not called. Only 3 slices of meat was placed in center of the plate. The outside of the meat was burnt, but the inside was just raw. There was no sauce nor side dishes, bread and soup.
Since the quality of the meat is F, seasoning is only salt and pepper.
The meat is cooked to savoriness and rarity. The customer couldn't pick up the clue since the steak did not look appeal. Even the soup looked very cheap.
I'm not going to eat that.
The offended customer got up and tried to leave the restaurant. Michael was in shock when the customs officer even tried to take a bite.
Hey, you're gonna pay for this. It will be 30.
I am not going to pay for this piece.
The customer left the restaurant Since this was unexpected, my ex-husband and brother-in-law were both in shock. At the same time, they were starting to realize the mistakes they have made. Michael, who never cooked before, and Dave, who had a proper job, could not run a restaurant. This is obvious if you think about the two who were only thinking about profit, failed to realize this fact. Sunflower, with the 2 new owners, never had another customer enter their residence again. I, on the other hand, was starting a restaurant in a different location. It's called Sunflower Second. The employees who worked for the original Sunflower are also with me. In fact, this restaurant was also inherited from my grandfather. My grandfather was concerned about continuance of the Sunflower as it was getting too old. So, he made a new restaurant at a different location. My grandfather wanted to tell people about this new restaurant after it was built, but he passed away before it was completed. This new restaurant, too, was inherits I never told my husband about this existing restaurant. The regular customers of the original Sunflower came to my restaurant because they wanted to eat my cooking. Thanks to the customers, the restaurant was very busy from the first day it opened. We were able to afford to hire new. I also made $500,000 from selling the original Sunflower, which made it easy for me to give my employees a raise. At the new restaurant with the Oriental menu, I also added and served my own menu also. In an effort to broaden their customer base, they attempted to create menus that could cater to a variety of crowds and foods that even small children could eat. This became a success, and more people came to my restaurant with their families. The new restaurant grew by keeping grandfather's original menu, but adding a few newer dishes to appeal to the younger generation. Every day I was very busy, with a sense of fulfillment that was gay. Michael and Dave was at loss. They borrowed to pay me $500,000, so been receiving the debt reminders.
What are we going to do about this?
Since Dave wasn't expecting it, didn't know what to do. Then he comes up with an idea.
I have a good idea.
They came to my restaurant unexpectedly during the busiest time, lunchtime, so I had a good idea.
Help us, Kate.
Dave shouted loudly without any care customers dining.
Michael had an injury on his arm, so he couldn't cook anymore.
We will return you the restaurants. You just give us back the money we get.
The original Sunflower became your restaurant. You have signed the contract paper? Be responsible and work hard.
I didn't take Dave's words seriously and tried to get back to work. Then, my ex-husband entered the room, looking as if he was in pain.
Kate, I've edited your post. Please check it out.
As he acted out, I didn't look at H, just tried to return to the kitchen. Customers were murmuring.
What is that? It looks so painful.
Since the customers were talking, Michael looked at Abe C and was shocked. He had the biggest bruise on his arm.
Wait, you are really injured?
Yes, that's what I was trying to tell you.
Then go to the hospital right away.
I hurriedly called the cab and sent my ex-husband to the hospital. During my lunch break, I went to the TUC on Michael. Then Michael came out of the house as if he had just finished his medical examination. When I tried to ask them what they were doing, they turned away from me and just walked away from me. I had a bad feeling about this, about him at the hospital reception.
I think a man named Michael has just been seen for an examination, hasn't he? Because I'm here to pick him up.
Hold on a second. Let me check.
By using Michael's name, I tried to find out why he was injured. However, the receptionist seemed puzzled.
There's no history of a man named Michael visiting this hospital for a checkup. Maybe he went to a different hospital?
Michael never got a checkup. Remembering that the two were running, knew that they were hiding something. So hurriedly, I tried to catch up to. After driving my car for a few minutes, I was able to find Michael and Dave walking. I stopped my car and grabbed my ex-arm.
I knew it.
I looked at the hand I grabbed and saw that the bruise was gone. Michael and Dave tried to run away, his hand tight. Since I was looking furious, they were running away.
Why is the bruise gone? You are not you.
I didn't know that running a restaurant would be this difficult. There are no customers coming to the Sunflower, so we're not making any, which makes us not being able to pay debt.
So I pretended to be injured and couldn't work anymore, which I thought would get me my money back from you.
Wow, I cannot believe this. I can't believe that you were trying to deceive me with such a childish lie.
I let go of his hand.
Well, from now, I want you to stay life. That restaurant is yours. You do son about it.
After I said that, I got in the car and returned to my restaurant. I felt disappointed when I saw them rearview mirror while driving away. Then put Sunflower on the market early. I think they decided to do that in order to pay off the debt. But since the residential building is quite old, it was difficult to find a buyer. Two worked without any sleep. They were constantly kept on receiving many messages. They deserve this life because they are selfish and greedy and abandoned what was important to them to achieve easy money. As for me, my new restaurant is thriving more than ever before and profits have doubled. A regular customer who has been coming to my restaurant for a long time offered me some training. Now, I have an appreciation for the culinary arts, for not letting my apprentice become a selfish, greedy person. Just like I would teach them to run a restaurant is not an easy job. I am continuing to work very hard to ensure that my grandfather's restaurant remains open for many more years to come.